Have you ever taken a deep breath before stepping onto the familiar staircase, only to feel your heart skip a beat and your thighs burn as if someone set them on fire? Or each morning, you just want to open a water bottle but your hand trembles slightly, twisting and twisting without budging? We often blame old age, but few realize that our bodies are sending out an SOS. Our muscle mass is silently wasting away each night while we remain unaware. It is alarming that the American Geriatric Society reports 1 in 3 Americans over 60 experiences sarcopenia without even knowing it. When muscle fibers shrink, everyday actions like standing up from the sofa, carrying a basket of vegetables, or stepping across a slick painted curb become balance tests. Falls, hip fractures, total dependence on grandchildren, muscle loss not only drains your strength, but also erodes your autonomy. The good news is that muscles make no distinction by age when it comes to regeneration. All they need is the right raw material. You don't have to buy cutting-edge exercise equipment or expensive prescriptions. Your kitchen already holds tiny, fragrant warriors, ready to rebuild each muscle fiber. We often think of fruit as a sweet dessert, but beneath that natural sugar lies a powerhouse of micronutrients. Polyphenols quell inflammation, vitamin C cements collagen, and potassium fine-tunes muscle signaling. And among that bounty, there is one fruit, bright as summer, cool on the tongue, that stands as the firmest shield against sarcopenia. Next, we will explore fruits so commonplace, yet scientifically proven to patch muscles and thicken tendons and joints in just weeks. Don't take your eyes off the screen, because the unassuming name revealed at the very end could be the key to climbing stairs without grabbing the railing, standing firmly on dew-damp grass, and laughing wholeheartedly as you scoop up your grandchildren to run around the yard. 1. Prunes. Prunes, familiar as a mildly sweet snack, are in fact the personal assistant for the muscles and bones of anyone over 60. In 100 g of prunes, there are over 700 mg of potassium, a mineral that regulates muscle contraction and relaxation, preventing those sudden midnight cramps. At the same time, prunes contain abundant polyphenols, which act like a tiny fire brigade, quietly controlling the low-grade inflammation in muscle fibers, the very cause of prolonged thigh and arm soreness even after light activity. In addition, the vitamin K in prunes helps the body bind calcium more precisely into the bones, keeping the skeletal framework strong for muscles to anchor to. When bone and muscle work in harmony, your gait becomes steadier and the risk of falls is reduced. Interestingly, prunes do not spike blood sugar as much as many other dried fruits. Their soluble fiber forms a gel in the gut, slowing the release of sugars, so even those with prediabetes can enjoy them without worrying about blood sugar roller coasters. For anyone whose protein absorption declines with age, a common contributor to muscle wasting, sarcopenia, prunes prove helpful. Their polyphenols reduce inflammation in the small intestine, improving protein uptake from main meals, while the potassium helps muscles use amino acids more efficiently, preventing their loss through excretion. To maximize the benefits, simply eat 3-4 prunes per day. Many experts recommend soaking them in a cup of warm water overnight. The next morning, the soaking liquid becomes slightly syrupy, naturally sweet, and rich in minerals. Drink it before breakfast to wake up your gut motility, then chop the softened prunes and sprinkle them over oatmeal or toss into a salad. The hydrated fruit's sweet tart flavor pairs perfectly with walnuts or almonds, making your breakfast both delicious and nutrient-dense. On days when you want variety, blend 2 prunes with half a banana and 150 ml of plain Greek yogurt. The smooth smoothie delivers protein, potassium, and probiotics, ideal after a light workout. A small caution: commercially sold prunes are often coated with vegetable oil to prevent sticking. Rinse them briefly under warm water and pat dry before eating to remove any excess oil. Those with sensitive stomachs should start with 1-2 prunes per day and drink extra water, as the high fiber can cause mild bloating until your body adjusts. Otherwise, prunes are generally safe alongside common medications taken by older adults. Only those on high-dose blood thinners need to consult a doctor, since the vitamin K, though modest, could affect medication efficacy. In summary, prunes are the optimal energy pack for muscle and bone health in your golden years. Potassium stabilizes nerve signaling, polyphenols extinguish muscle inflammation, vitamin K reinforces bone, and fiber keeps blood sugar gentle. Adding a few prunes to your daily diet is simple, economical, and lays a solid foundation for properly nourished muscles, helping you rise with ease, walk with confidence, and enjoy an increasingly active life. 2. Red grapes. Red grapes, those tiny fruits that seem like nothing more than a refreshing dessert, actually serve as a daily armor for aging muscle fibers. In their thin, burgundy skins hides resveratrol, the compound famed in red wine, but even more abundant in fresh grapes, alongside flavonoids and anthocyanins that give them their deep purple-red hue. This trio works in a very practical way. First, they dilate the tiny blood vessels beneath the skin and along the muscle fibers, allowing oxygen-rich blood to flow more rapidly to the calves, forearms, and shoulders. When oxygen arrives, the mitochondria, the power plants inside each muscle cell, have the fuel they need to burn sugar and fat into energy, so muscles tire less, you can stand without numbness, and climbing stairs feels less breathless. But it doesn't stop there. Resveratrol also keeps mitochondria youthful by neutralizing the free radicals produced when we move, and it stimulates the body to produce more enzymes that protect mitochondrial membranes. As a result, muscle fiber degeneration slows down. A National Institutes of Health study found that older adults who consumed about 200 g of red grapes daily for 12 weeks lost 20% less muscle mass than a control group. This effect is especially noticeable in those prone to cold feet or trembling arms due to poor circulation. When vessels dilate, hands and feet stay warm, and that end-of-day exhaustion lightens significantly. The simplest way to reap these benefits is to eat whole grapes, including skins and seeds. The seeds contain the highest concentration of resveratrol. If you worry about chewing, you can nibble each grape and gently crush the seed between your tongue and palate. It tastes slightly bitter but is packed with antioxidants. In the morning, toss a handful of halved grapes into rolled oats with a spoonful of plain Greek yogurt. The oat fiber slows grape sugar's entry into the bloodstream, the yogurt adds easy-to-digest protein, and the resveratrol protects muscles throughout your day's activities. On hot days, place washed grapes in the freezer for 2-3 hours to make a cool, refreshing candy that replaces ice cream, quenching thirst while delivering anti-inflammatory benefits. People with diabetes or on blood sugar-controlled diets can rest assured, because 200 g of red grapes delivers under 15 g of slowly absorbed sugar, along with plenty of polyphenols to temper post-meal glucose spikes. However, if you are on strong blood thinners, discuss daily grape intake with your doctor, as resveratrol can have a mild blood-thinning effect. Also avoid glossy grapes coated in wax. Soak them in a saltwater solution for 10 minutes and rinse under running water to remove pesticide residue. Adding red grapes to your diet requires no elaborate recipe. At lunch, follow your greens and chicken breast with a few grapes for dessert. In the evening, enjoy a small handful before a gentle walk to recharge. With this simple daily habit, you'll be secretly reinforcing your muscles' armor against oxidative stress, so that when you need to lift bags, carry grandkids, or climb a few steps, your legs remain steady, your arms stay strong, and you won't feel weighed down. 3. Padron green peppers. Long regarded as a multivitamin dose gentle on any stomach, especially suited for those over 60 seeking to strengthen tendons and muscles and ease the creaking of knee joints each morning. In 100 g of Padron green peppers, there is over 130% of the daily vitamin C requirement. This means that with just a small handful cooked properly, the body has enough fuel to activate the enzymes that produce collagen, the primary building block of ligaments, tendons, and the thin cartilage caps on bone ends. As the collagen network is continually patched strand by strand, the sharp twinges in the wrist when lifting a teapot or the tightness in the calf muscles at midnight gradually diminish because connective tissue is replenished and regains elasticity. Alongside vitamin C, padron peppers contain capsaicin at a very mild concentration, not as fiery as cayenne, but enough to moderately dilate blood vessels, drawing more oxygen and nutrient-rich blood to every muscle fiber. With good circulation, metabolic waste is swiftly cleared, and the low-grade inflammation around joints cools down, helping joints swell and stiffen less with changing weather. One of the simplest preparations is to stir-fry padron peppers quickly with 1 teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil and a few threads of fresh turmeric. The olive oil provides healthy fats that aid absorption of vitamin K and carotenoids. The turmeric adds anti-inflammatory curcumin, while the peppers retain their crunch and a sweet, slightly pungent flavor that tantalizes the palate. This sautéed pepper dish can appear 2-3 times per week as a hot midday snack, light on the stomach, yet high in fiber to ward off constipation, a common issue for less active older adults. On days when you prefer not to fry, you can char the peppers in a non-stick pan, drizzle with sesame oil, and sprinkle with toasted sesame seeds. The smoky note marries the nutty sesame for a novel flavor, while adding calcium and magnesium beneficial for bone health. An important advantage is that padron peppers are virtually non-spicy, so even those with chronic gastritis can enjoy them without gut discomfort. In fact, many of my patients who had lost their appetite report that simply adding a few green peppers to a meal made food taste good again, which in turn increased their overall protein and micronutrient intake, supporting muscle recovery better than isolated supplements. For those who eat little or struggle with digestion, padron peppers also gently stimulate digestive enzymes, reducing post-dinner bloating. The only tip is to choose peppers with bright green stems and taut skins, wash and pat dry, then either slice into rings or leave whole and stir-fry over high heat for 2-3 minutes to preserve vitamins, avoiding prolonged cooking that volatilizes nutrients. A simple change from these small green peppers, but maintained regularly, you will find yourself rising more nimbly, gripping more firmly, and experiencing joints that no longer creak with every movement. 4. Golden kiwi. Although this fruit is common, not everyone knows it is actually a compact energy battery for those over 60, especially for those who eat well but still absorb poorly. Every 100 g of flesh provides about 161 mg of vitamin C, 3 times that of a sweet orange, plus the unique enzyme actinidin found only in kiwi fruit. When you eat it on an empty stomach, actinidin works like scissors snipping yarn. It breaks the complex bonds in yesterday's leftover meat, fish, or protein porridge into short amino acid chains that easily pass through the intestinal wall. As a result, the body not only receives more protein to repair muscles, but also gains the bricks to weave new collagen fibers, helping ligaments, tendons, and skin retain their springy resilience. At the same time, the abundant vitamin C acts as the mason, mixing mortar and binding the amino acids into a strong collagen network. This reduces the feeling of looseness in the knees when standing and makes hand skin less wrinkled and wounds heal faster. The simplest habit is to peel 1 ripe golden kiwi, slice it, and eat it about 30 minutes before your main breakfast, so the enzyme has time to prime the digestive system. If you want a light, energy-rich snack, you can mix kiwi with a few crushed walnuts and a teaspoon of raw honey. The healthy fats in walnuts help stabilize blood sugar, while the honey mellows the tartness, perfect even for sensitive teeth. Because kiwi flesh is soft and its tiny seeds are tender, denture wearers or those with sensitive gums can enjoy it comfortably without pain. On days when you need to carry fruit on the go, simply leave the kiwi unpeeled in a paper box. The thin but sturdy skin protects the delicious flesh, and you can peel and eat it at mealtime without fuss. Many older patients complain that they take collagen powder, yet their skin remains dry and joints still creak. The issue is not the amount, but the ability to digest and transport it. Adding golden kiwi daily is like opening the door for collagen to enter the bloodstream and reach exactly where repairs are needed. A study at Massey University, New Zealand, showed that volunteers over 65 who ate 2 golden kiwis each morning for 8 weeks increased their protein absorption by 20% and experienced a significant reduction in nighttime cramps. For a slow digestive system, golden kiwi also soothes the stomach thanks to its moderate soluble fiber content, promoting regular bowel movements and preventing toxin buildup that can damage muscle and tendon. A small note: if you are on high-dose anticoagulants, you can still eat kiwi because its vitamin K content is very low and does not affect blood test results. However, those with irritable bowel syndrome should start with half a fruit and monitor their reaction before increasing the amount. And don't forget to choose fruit with smooth brown skin that yields slightly to gentle pressure. This indicates optimal sweetness and peak enzyme activity. One small habit, a single golden kiwi, can be the first step toward restoring muscle strength and joint flexibility with every secure step in later life. 5. Wild berries. You may have heard a lot about them, but do you really know how beneficial they are for older adults? These small, black-purple fruits, often growing at forest edges or on late summer hillsides, are actually a 3-in-1 nutrient pack for those over 60 who want both strong muscles and sharp minds. A handful of 10-15 berries already provides a high enough amount of anthocyanins to spark the natural collagen production process. New collagen not only firms the skin, but also mends the microfibers in muscle bundles and tendons. Therefore, after a few weeks, arms and legs feel less fatigued when carrying things or climbing stairs. But the value of wild berries does not stop at muscles. The anthocyanin molecules even cross the blood-brain barrier, quelling the smoldering inflammation around the neurons responsible for balance. As a result, coordinated movements such as turning or changing direction while walking become smoother, reducing falls, the greatest fear in later life. At the same time, the vitamin C content of wild berries rivals that of citrus fruits, yet comes with low natural sugars, so it does not trigger erratic blood sugar spikes. This is good news for anyone monitoring prediabetes. Vitamin C teams up with anthocyanins to protect the tiny blood vessels that nourish muscles, while also acting like cement to bind amino acids into strong collagen chains. Another mineral often overlooked but abundant in wild berries is manganese. Just a serving of 15 berries meets nearly 30% of the daily manganese requirement, a mineral that activates the enzymes inside muscle mitochondria to convert sugars into ATP more quickly. The result is that in the afternoon, you still have enough energy to stroll around the park, instead of sitting out from heavy, tired legs. The simplest way to make use of them is to add wild berries to your morning oatmeal. The oats provide beta-glucan to keep blood sugar stable, and the berries contribute anti-inflammatory compounds plus a gentle sweetness, making a bland breakfast more enjoyable. Anyone who prefers a chilled treat can blend wild berries with a cup of Greek yogurt and a few walnuts. The healthy fats in walnuts help anthocyanins dissolve better, while also adding omega-3s to fight joint inflammation. On busy days, simply wash, drain, and pack 10-15 berries in a glass jar. Mid-morning, open and eat them in minutes for a 50-calorie snack overflowing with nutrients. When buying, note that wild berries bruise easily, so choose dry, dark purple-black fruits with their natural bloom intact. This indicates a fresh harvest and the highest anthocyanin content. For storage, lay them in a single layer on a paper towel, refrigerate, and use within 5 days. For longer storage, freeze them immediately, retaining up to 80% of their nutrients after 3 months. Avoid dried or syrup-packed varieties, as they often contain hidden added sugars. For those with sensitive bowels, start with 6-8 berries and observe before increasing to avoid discomfort. By meeting 2 goals at once, supporting memory and nourishing muscle, wild berries deserve a place in the daily diet of anyone entering their 60s who wants firm muscles, quick steps, and a clear mind. A small handful, affordably priced, requiring no elaborate preparation, yet helping you take one more step toward living independently and happily with your family for longer. If you're still skeptical that a handful of fruit a day can truly transform your health, consider the story of Mr. Mark, 72 years old, living in suburban Columbus, Ohio. A year ago, he slipped right at his kitchen threshold, slammed his wrist hard on the floor, and had to wear a cast for 4 weeks. The doctor diagnosed the root cause as weak leg muscles and poor microcirculation, and advised him to boost his breakfast with fruits rich in resveratrol and vitamin C. From that day on, each of his sunrises began with a bowl of Greek yogurt topped with whole red grapes and a few ripe wild berries. In the afternoons, he carried a bottle of water infused with slices of golden kiwi to sip on his walking routine. In just 6 weeks, the tingling in his calves disappeared, his steps grew steadier, and he no longer feared stumbling. By the 3rd month, Mr. Mark confidently returned to the golf course, completed 9 full holes, and kept up the habit of walking 3 miles each evening along the Scioto River. His old wrist regained flexibility, his swing stayed steady, but what he bragged about most to his children and grandchildren was, "I'm not afraid of nighttime cramps anymore." Adding the right fruits, consistently every day, sometimes the most enduring solution is this simple. When you understand clearly that muscle loss is the result of your daily plate, not a sentence of age, you also hold the power to rewrite the script. The 5 fruits just mentioned, dried plums, red grapes, padron bell peppers, golden kiwis, and wild berries, differ only in color and flavor. What they have in common is supplying exactly the bricks, amino acids, vitamin C, polyphenols, and mortar, potassium, manganese, resveratrol for aging muscles to self-repair and thicken. You don't need to overhaul your entire menu or buy expensive supplements. Just choose one fruit from the list, eat it at the same time each day, for example, 10 g of dried plums after breakfast or a handful of red grapes in the afternoon. Note down each week, are your steps more stable? Still winded climbing stairs? Try twisting a bottle cap, has your wrist's tremor eased? After 28 days, your body's own transformation will give you the most honest answer. If you notice a difference, don't keep it to yourself. Hit the share button to send this video to loved ones or to your neighbor fumbling with a cane. Very likely all they need is a small box of fruit in the fridge. Leave a comment below. Which fruit did you choose? How did you experience its power? And what questions do you still have about an anti-sarcopenia diet? I read every comment and will answer in the next video. Click subscribe so you don't miss the upcoming 7-day natural muscle recovery program we're about to release. 1 click, 1 serving of fruit, 1 steadfast habit, 3 small details enough to keep your legs steady, your arms strong, and your spirit free throughout your golden years.